Good morning, friends. This is Willie Lee Kersey, the Simple Georgian. Hope y'all having a great Sunday, great weekend. As you can tell, I'm in my daily ride. Start doing it like Matches and some other people talking about their mobile office. Man, the life of a truck driver, right? I'm supposed to be off on the weekends. But for the past 2 weeks since I come back off of vacation, my travel agent, aka dispatcher, has been running me a little on the hard side. I didn't get to do a reset last weekend, and I run on recaps all week. And the only way to do my 34-hour reset this weekend was to drive yesterday, get as close as I could to the receiver, get my 34-hour reset. Actually, it'll be a little bit longer than that, but the required reset is 34 hours. And deliver tomorrow at the receiver. Now, having said that, I could have went to the house, but I grew up in the trucking industry where you stayed in your truck, you got a sleeper. There's no reason to get up at 2 or 3 in the morning to try to run a load and this and that, the other thing. So I just as soon sleep in the sleeper, get quality, well, I call it quality sleep. When you live in the truck for 33 years, 32 years, you get used to a truck. And a lot of people's like, oh, I couldn't do that. But yeah. So anyway, in order to keep from getting up at 2 or 3 in the morning to run my load, I chose to come down and spend my 34 within about an hour where I got done load at. And it just works out better for me that way. Yeah, I don't get to spend time with mom and dad and my son, but my son's on midnight, so he's sleeping most of the days anyway. Dad and mom be in church, so yeah. Missouri Meersum Legend, one of my favorite blends from my local brick and mortar, Shelby's Cut. If you watched Armchair Piper, he mentioned this. That was one of the blends that I sent him, and in the winnings of the Gall. And in answer to the question that was asked of him, no, it was not a blend from Shelby Foot. This was a blend that they come up with to excuse me, this was a blend that they come up with to I'm not going to say honor the granddaughter, but I mean, because she still works there. I'm real good friends with her. But I guess it's not on her. They named it after her. Put it like that. And it's one of my favorite blends from my local brick and mortar. Sorry, this is going to be a halfway drawn out video. I didn't really prepare the way I wanted to. I mean, since vacation, this is the first chance that I've really got to slow down and enjoy anything. So it might be a little bit longer than normal. I want to congratulate Jess Piping on his 1,000 subs. I want to congratulate Cigar Vice on his 1,000. Old Man Things, congratulations on your 3,000. And Montana Piper, congratulations on your 300. And he wanted a VR. He asked the question, something similar to the fact of what video impacted your pipe smoking or what have you, or what impacted you getting into the pipe smoking, as near as I can understand it. And for me, I think I've said this a couple of times, but I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to go back and look at my videos. Back when I was growing up, I always heard of people talking about the Velvet, half and half, the Prince Albert. That was the three main ones I always heard about. And of course, the running joke, people, talking about the Prince Albert in a can, talking about going to let him out. And I've always been intrigued by Sherlock Holmes. And if you know anything about Sherlock Holmes, anytime that he had a situation where he had to think or ponder, I think Armchair Piper mentioned this one time, he would call it a three-pipe problem. Excuse me, a three-pipe problem, a four-pipe problem, whatever. So ever how many pipes it was would be how many pipes it would take to ponder the situation. Well, a lot of you know about the Peterson pipes. And the slogan for Peterson is a thinking man's pipe. So I grew up around that, and I've always been intrigued by Sherlock Holmes because of the mystery and how he figured stuff out. And I didn't realize until I actually started, I smoked a little Black & Milds or Swiss or Sweets when I was running the clubs back in my younger days. But it was more for the, I don't know, I was a young kid. I was just doing what I thought was whatever. And when I turned 50, like I said, I've always been intrigued with Sherlock Holmes. And I got into the pipes and the premium cigars. I don't smoke as many cigars as I do the pipes, but I do have several cigars, and I've got way more pipes and blends than I'll probably ever smoke in my lifetime. And so anyway, I started looking at them and started going to my local brick and mortar, started paying attention, started digging around on YouTube. And I guess for me, the two that struck me right off the bat was, of course, Matches 860. May he rest in peace. And Mutton Chop. And as many of you know, I got to meet Mutton Chop at the Columbus Pipe Show a couple of years ago. Speaking of the Columbus Pipe Show, it is coming up this weekend, the 7th and the 8th, there in Columbus, Ohio. So I hope you get to go. I probably won't be able to go myself, but I met Mutton Chop there. I won one of his English blends, because that was the he had a bucket of wooden nickels. You pick out the wooden nickel and your number showed up. Whatever your number was, if you was a winner, you won a blend. Well, I won one of his English blends, and he gave me the wooden nickel to go along with it. A real interesting guy. And so between him and Matches, I guess that was probably the start of my pipe journey. And along the way, I met, of course, Flat Cap Piper, Lady Fire, may she rest in peace. And got to commenting on Armchair Piper's videos. And between Flat Cap and Armchair and Lady Fire, they kind of helped me get over the fear of trying to make videos. So here we are. And it's just been a very interesting journey since then. So I hope that answers your question, Montana Piper. The people that impacted me the most was, like I said, Matches 860, Mutton Chop, and then to do the videos was Flat Cap, Lady Fire, and Armchair Ed. That's the ones that impacted me the most as far as YouTube channel and getting started in the pipes. Many of you know the Mastro Puccini has just, it dropped this week, or this past week. Cornell and Neal's dropping a Sun Bear bourbon cast this Tuesday, I believe it is. Shower Tobacco is doing a small drop of one tobacco sometime this week or next week. Quentin Shower. And of course, Ravenwood, he's doing a drop tomorrow, I believe it is. So keep up on his website. So he'll be doing a drop tomorrow. And the that's what's dropping this week, or this past 2 weeks. Cloud Bear Customs, he's doing a drop pretty shortly. That's the only ones that I know of at the moment that's doing a drop. And before I forget, let's keep Pat with East can't even talk this morning. East Texas Pipe Club in your prayers. He hasn't mentioned a whole bunch about it, but he's made a couple of comments of a couple of health issues he's going through, And of course, we haven't seen Piper X1X Jonathan in a while. So let's keep him in our prayers. And I have been watching y'all's videos, but I'm like Jesse. Sometimes I can comment, sometimes I can't because of me driving or whatnot. So if I comment on your video, it's because I'm stopped somewhere, or either, you know, I just seen it or whatever when I load, unload, or swap trailers or whatnot. If I'm driving, I normally don't comment. As many of you know, I went on vacation, what I call a vacation. A buddy of mine I grew up with, he takes his children for a national championship every year in the Columbus, Ohio area. And it's a week-long deal. I normally drive the gear up on Sunday, stay there all week, drive back the following Sunday. And instead of me running back and forth, I just stay up the whole week. And it creates an environment where I have a so-called paid vacation. I was getting my own little room at a hostel, but this year here and next year they decided to just put me up in the hotel where I'm right there with them. Because while I'm up there, if they need anything, I can run, get it, do this and that and the other. And my buddy can stay out there at the competition with his children. So, and it's the national championship, and they normally win every year. This year here was their 25th year doing the competition. And so it's pretty much a given that that's my annual thing every year. Well, anyway, while I was up there, of course, I don't know how many of you have been to the pipe shows, but if you've been to the pipe shows, a lot of you know Miss Sally of the Pipe Tart. I've been fortunate enough to get 2 pipes from her, a Ian Walker sea urchin and a Frederico Becker's Dublin. Some type of a Dublin or Zulu or something. And but anyway, for the last 2 or 3 years that I've been going up there, I get in touch with her and her husband, and we'll go hang out, go out to eat, go to different pipe shops. One year we went to well, sorry, I can't remember the name. Barclays. We went to Barclays. Well, at the time they had 5 stores. They had 3 Barclays and 2 what they call the governor's mansion or something like that. Well, the one that we went to in town around the mall there, well, I call it a mall. It's not a mall like you would see with a Sears, JCPenney and all that. This was it was a shopping center, put it like that. The one that I met her at, I had went a couple of times that week, and I enjoyed it. This year I met her at the Tinderbox of Dublin. Real nice place. And of course, a lot of you know the armchair. Ed likes his Philosopher from Tinderbox, which they don't make it anymore. And from my understanding, it has to do with the fact of them not being able to get the components. So I picked up a couple of blends from there. I'd have to go back into my list and see what blends I picked up, but I'll go through them when I get into them. And but I had a great time with Miss Sally. and the family there. We spent probably about 4 or 5 hours together. Had an awesome time. And then on the way back, because of the route that I took, it run me through what's that, Louisville, Lexington, something like that. I'd have to go back and look at my list on that as well. Anyway, come to find out, I wasn't but about 20 minutes off the highway from Schwab's. A lot of you have heard about Schwab's in other people's videos, and so I made a choice to stop by there. Very interesting place. They had a guy that was working there part-time, it being a Sunday. The owner wasn't there, but the guy that was working, he was very friendly. They had a handful of guys in the smoking lounge, and they had a pretty decent selection. And he said they had some more stuff coming in. And now, if I had been able to stay there in Columbus that Sunday, I could have went to the club meetup. They had a rep coming up from, I think they said Cornell and Deal. I can't remember. There to the Tinderbox, but it was going to be that Sunday afternoon. And of course, I had to be back on the road because I had to be home that night, get back in the big truck Monday, and go again. So, but anyway, I stopped at Schwab's. That was real fun. And had a pretty good little time with them. I think I spent probably 45 minutes or so between there, and they had a little pizza place right next door. I grabbed pizza and was eating it on the way back. And I come back to work. Well, many of you know Birmingham has a pipe shop there called the Briary. Well, I have been trying to get to the Briary now for about 4 years. I've heard people talk about it. You know, seen a couple of little videos about it, and I wanted to get in there and get one of the pipes that the Briary was selling, what they called their store pipes or something, some new old stock or something they had gotten. And from the pictures I've seen, it was a beautiful selection, but I didn't get to. Well, this past trip coming back out of Tennessee, I dug around, looked at the map, and come to find out, it wasn't but about 10 minutes or so from the truck stop there in Birmingham. And I knew I couldn't get a truck down there to them, so I parked at the truck stop. Travel centers, they call them nowadays. It's not truck stops. It's travel centers because they cater to travelers. But it was the Pilot Flying J there in Birmingham. Parked my truck, got out, got me a Uber or Lyft. What I do is I bounce between the two, and whichever one's the cheapest at the time is the one I pick. So I think I got a Lyft going and an Uber coming back. Anyway, I made the voyage over to the Briary shop, and I got to meet Skip Elliott. Awesome guy. If you ever have a chance to go to the Briary, go. I mean, Swabs was great, don't get me wrong, but I didn't get to meet the owner. Back when I was on the road for running long haul, I got a chance to go to Cigar and Tobacco there at Overland Park, and those guys were awesome. I got to be real good friends with those guys because I was in there so much. And J.M. Boswell's, when I went up there to his shop, both shops, they were very friendly. And the Briary, Skip Elliott, all the people that he had working for him, he had 4 or 5 people, his employees there. One of them was the blenders. The other one was one of his part-time sales, and the woman he had just hired for part-time, she was there on her day off, smoking a pipe, talking and chatting. And me and Skip had probably a 2.5 hour conversation, and awesome time. And I mean, it just, I knew I probably wouldn't get to make the Columbus, Ohio pipe show, so it kind of scratched that itch for me of stopping there and talking to Skip. So, and of course, y'all know John David Cole there at Country Squire. They just got that new building. But I've spent some time with John David at different pipe shows, and a couple of times I have went to his store there in Mississippi. But yeah, it was just awesome time there at the Briary. If you ever get a chance, go to your local brick and mortar. Support these local brick and mortars. I mean, I'm not saying make a special trip, although it would be worth it. But if you ever get a chance to get in the area, go visit these brick and mortars and check them out. Yeah, you might pay a little bit more for the tobacco, but the time that you have with the people, the time that you spend with the people is well worth the time. Get to meet these people. That way, if you order something online from them, you know what you're looking for, from the store, because you remember it from the store. So yeah, go visit these places, and check them out. And as far as I know, that's all I have for today. It was a little bit longer than some of my other videos. I'm still working on my AI stuff. I've about finished the majority of the courses that I need. The thing I've got to work on now is getting my tablet, my phone, and my computer set up to where everything synchronizes with the programs and the software and this and that and the other. So, alright, I've been rambling for about 30 minutes. We're gonna call it, and I think that's all I have. And congratulations to these guys on their subs, and remember these other people in your prayers. I don't know who else, but I kind of tried to update y'all on what was dropping, what was going on, the different pipe shops I was able to visit during my last couple of weeks. So we hope y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and have a good one. Talk to y'all later now. Bye.